Okay, guys, so the question reads, Best Milk, a typical profit maximizing dairy firm, is operating in a constant cost, perfectly competitive industry that's in long run equilibrium. So the beginning of the question tells me kind of what my position is going to be for my side-by-side graphs. I'm going to be doing a market and a firm, and it's in long run equilibrium. And the very first part, which is A, is to draw the correctly labeled side-by-side graphs for the market and for the firm. And I have to show price and output. Okay, so something to just note: make sure you're labeling, each part, and when you do your market and your firm, make sure that you're labeling your demand and your supply. I use Q star for equilibrium quantity, P star for equilibrium price, and I do the dotted line so that way the examiners will have no doubt that the price is the market price, but is also the firm's price. The firm is a price taker. And then I'm also showing marginal cost. This is my marginal revenue, which is also equal to my demand and my average revenue and my price. You can also put P here if you want. We know that the quantity that the firm should produce should be where MR equals MC, and we know the price is the same price. Okay, so you can also label this if you wish. This is the market, and this is the firm. And that way the AP readers, have no questions about what your graphs are detailing. And then we assume that milk is a normal good and that the consumer income falls. Assume that Best Milk continues to produce. On the graph, show the effect of the decrease in income on each of the following in the short run. So we're moving from long run to short run, and they don't want us to draw a new graph, but to kind of use the old graph. And I know because this is a normal good, when the income is decreased, that's one of the things that can decrease demand. I use the arrows to actually detail the shift in demand, and I might label this, if this was D1, this could be D2, D and D1. And ultimately, you're going to see, because of this reduction in demand, a new quantity, which is less than the original quantity in the market, and of course, a new price. Okay, so P1 instead of P star. And because this is perfect competition, that new price is going to be carried over all the way to here. And we have a new MR. Okay, so this is like MR1. And we have a decrease in our MR. Our price is now decreased because of the reduction in demand, and we also see a reduction in the quantity. Okay, so for the price and quantity for the industry, right, I might simply note price is going to decrease, and the quantity is also going to decrease. For the firm, price and for Best Milk, the firm, we also will see the price will decrease and the quantity will decrease as a result of that reduction in price. Okay, and then we also will area of profit or loss. Okay, so they want us to detail the area of profit or loss for Best Milk. We know that it's going to be a loss, and in terms of detailing it, I'm just going to go back to the original graph. I might write here for the AP readers, see graph, so I'm noting that I've done, kind of I, and, little I, and I. All right, my daughter's laughing at me. Okay, so in terms of doing the loss, if before I was here, that was my ATC, okay, because I was at long run equilibrium. Now that my price is lower and I'm at this new quantity, okay, quantity Q1, at this particular quantity, my price is here, but my ATC is all the way up here. So I have to be able to look at that quantity, and I'm going to note my loss here. Ignore those old price lines. Don't follow those price lines to detail your losses. Anytime you have a per unit ATC that's greater than your price, you're going to have a loss. Okay, so I'm shading the loss, and I can even note, that that's my loss here. Okay. For C, they're looking for an explanation here. Following the decrease in consumer income, what must be true for Best Milk to continue to produce? In order for Best Milk to produce, the price would have to be greater than or equal to ABC. That's your shutdown rule. If price was lower than minimum ABC, you ultimately are going to shut down. And then for D, assume the industry adjusts to a new long-run equilibrium. Compare the following between the initial and the new long-run equilibrium. So if you look back at the graph, right, we know that because there's losses, there is going to be an exit from the industry and the supply curve is going to shift left. If you look at what happens when the supply curve shifts left, ultimately you're going to get an increase in price back up to P star. So the price bounces back to where it was before. So the price in the industry is going to be the same as the price was prior due to the decrease in supply. The output of the typical firm is also going to be where it originally was. If the price goes back to P star in the market, it's going to be equal to where it was before, same MR equals MC, the bigger quantity, and ultimately that's where your quantity was originally. There's no difference between the first long run and the second long run. The one place where you do see a difference is part, the three little i's. So this one for part D, price is the same, and your output, your quantity for the firm is the same. Okay, and you could write that in sentences for the readers to kind of clarify that. But the number of firms in the dairy industry is going to be different because originally we had, in the first long run, we had P star here and Q star here. Then we had a demand decrease, and we saw a decrease in the quantity. Now we have a supply decrease. We're going to see an additional decrease in the quantity. Your market quantity is going to be way down here because you've had a reduction in demand and a reduction in supply. So the quantity in the industry will decrease. And that means going from one long-run position to kind of losses to the new long-run position. You're not exactly the same. In the industry, you have many fewer firms producing. Okie doke, that's 2005. Have a good night.